Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is David, this is David K Reacts, and today, for once, I'm reacting to the most recent release by one of the groups I follow. This is VoicePlay's In the Air Tonight. I'm excited to hear this. I've been a big fan of the Phil Collins song for a long time. I'm not a particular Phil Collins or Genesis fan, but I appreciate what both the group and the individual do. And this song, of course, is timeless. It was released in 1981 and is just as incredible today as it was back then, I think. And I'm really excited to see what VoicePlay do with it. This is a fascinating choice. I expect Lane is going to have a lot of fun in this. There's a certain drum riff I'm sure we all know. I'll be interested to see what he does with that. But yeah, I'm fascinated. This is such an interesting song, I think. Phil Collins wrote this shortly after... I can't remember if it was after his wife had just sort of broken up with him or if they'd actually divorced at this point. And there's a great quote, and I wrote this down, and I wanted to read it. He was doing an interview with Rolling Stone in 2016, and he said, "One day I was working on a piece in D minor, the saddest key of all. I just wrote a sequence and it sounded nice. I wrote the lyrics spontaneously. I'm not quite sure what the song is about, but there's a lot of anger, a lot of despair, and a lot of frustration." That seems reasonable given where he was at. What had happened was he'd gone on a tour with Genesis that had lasted longer than expected, and his wife said, "If you do another one of these, I'm gone." And he basically said, you know, please just hold out while I'm away. Went on the next tour, came back, and she left. And that's when this song came about. And so all of those emotions, I think, make a great deal of sense to me. But it's interesting that he still doesn't really know what the song is about. Did very, very well. It hit number 19 on the US Billboard Hot 100. It was number 2 in the UK. I think the only reason it wasn't number 1 was it came out the same time as John Lennon's Woman, which was released posthumously. And so I think that... kind of by default jumped straight to number 1 given the enormous respect people have for John Lennon in the first place, let alone the fact that he had just passed. But I think In the Air Tonight probably would have hit number 1 otherwise. And it's done extremely well. The digital single is certified double platinum in the UK, triple platinum in the United States. You know, this song is legend. I think one of the things that fascinates me about it is the sound of the drums, which is one of the things that it is best known for, was a complete accident. There was no sort of deliberate intent behind creating this kind of very gated sound that the drums have. Doing a little bit of research, what I discovered was basically on if people aren't familiar with recording studios, you've seen it on videos, even in home freeze stuff, but I'm sure in movies and on TV. You have the guy working at the desk, the sound engineer, who's working at the desk, changing volume levels and recording and doing all of that stuff. And then you have the band playing, and the band is in a soundproof space, and they can't communicate with each other. So the desks have a button on them that says talk, and you hit that and you talk to the band. Some desks have the option to actually have the band talk back as well. This one did. I think it's more common nowadays than it used to be. But that had been switched on, and the drums were recorded through the talkback. And it created such a fascinating sound that they went back, recreated it, and kind of fudged it together so that sound could be legitimately recorded, rather than just being kind of, off in the distance a little bit. And that's how that sound was created. It was a complete accident and worked to create, I think, one of the most iconic drum sounds we've ever had. I have to share this. I'm sure most people have seen this, but I have to share it anyway. I cannot hear this song without thinking of a particular advert that was aired in the UK. I guess in the early 2000s would be my guess. I'm not 100% sure when. I'm not going to play all of it because I'm sure it will get flagged. But Cadbury had a slogan at one point that was a glass and a half full of joy. And they have their purple symbology, like the company's color is purple and all this kind of stuff. And so they had an advert that started, I'm about halfway through it, but it started with just these views of this gorilla with the purple background behind. And as the camera starts pulling out a little bit more, you can just see in the right-hand side there's an ampener in the corner. And so you kind of get the idea that there's some sort of sound thing. And In the Air Tonight is playing. And I'm just going to play 15 seconds of this advert so you can see where this goes in case you've never seen it before. Anyway, you get where that's going. I cannot hear this song now without hearing that advert, without seeing that advert in my mind. I had to share that because it's such a weird piece of, like, British advertising at one point. Some of the stuff that came across your TV was bizarre. And the first time you saw that, if you didn't know what was coming, it was just brilliant. Anyway, with that earworm in everybody's mind, let's have a look at this. Just one thing I think it's worth mentioning. Phil Collins, quite rightly, gets an enormous amount of praise for this song, but I do actually, where I usually call out the musicians who are actually in it. I do think that the musicians who performed this song deserve a shout out, because I think they get underpraised for work that they did, and that was John Giblin, Daryl Sturmer, I have no idea if I'm actually pronouncing that name correctly or not, and Lakshmi Narayana Shankar. And if you look into all of them, their careers have been littered with incredible things. People that they worked with. Of course, there's connections to Peter Gabriel through Genesis. But the list of people on their resumes is quite extraordinary, so I do urge you to check that out at some point. But we're not here for all of that. We're here to check out VoicePlay. So that's what I'm going to do. Firstly, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if this is your first time here. I'm going to watch this video straight through. I'm going to emote, I'm going to comment over the top of it, but I'm not going to stop it for any reason. And then once I have done that, I will go back and then I'm going to analyze it, and I will interrupt and offer what commentary and analysis I feel I can along the way. So if you're just here for the reaction, the first quarter or so of this video should be good for you. Please do like this video if you enjoy it, even if you are just watching that first bit. That would be fantastic. Please do hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to my channel. We're inching closer to 2,000 subscribers, and I'm very excited to get there. So please do add your name to the list of subscribers. You can hit the notification bell to decide how frequently you get told when I post. And if you would care to, you can head over to buymeacoffee.com/DavidKReacts, where you can support the channel through donations if you so wish. And with that, I think that's everything. I am very intrigued to see what VoicePlay has done with this, because it is just such a cool song and such an iconic sound. And, they tackled Nothing Else Matters, which to me is just as iconic, and did a sterling job of that. And I'm really excited to see what they've done with this one. So this is VoicePlay singing Phil Collins, In the Air Tonight. Oh, I've done it again. Wrong button. There we go. Ooh. Oh, I like the 80s aesthetic of the video as well. The video tear. Ooh. I can feel it coming. Yes, Jay. Tonight. Oh Lord. And I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord. Can you feel it? This is cool. Ooh, yes, Jeff. Woo! Oh, that harmony. Well, if you told me you were drowning. Sam Lane! He sounds literally like the drums. Wow! I've seen your face before, my friend, but I don't know if you know who I am. Well, I was there and I saw what you did. Saw it with my own 2 eyes. So you can wipe off that gray. Oh, wow. I know where you've been. Everyone's in their lower, well, the high singers are lower down in this. And I can feel it coming in. Oh, this is so cool. Yes. Oh, this is so cool. Yes, Lane.
How could I ever forget?
Love me some Lane vocals.
The last time that we ever met. But I know the reason why you keep your silence up. No, no, you don't fool me. Well, the hurt doesn't show, but the pain still grows. It's no stranger to you and me.
Yes!
I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
Oh, this is great! They're doing such a good job with this.
This moment for all my life.
Woo! Yes, Jay!
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. I can feel
Oh. Oh, that's cool. Oh, this is great. Ooh. Yes. Oh.
Well, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, I've been waiting
Oh, that was gorgeous.
for all my life. Oh Lord, oh Lord.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh. Oh, those sound effects. That's just... The post-processing that's been done on this is fantastic. And as always, I will always comment on this because they always do a great job. I love that artwork. That is truly fantastic. Oh, my apologies. I got a bit of dust caught in the back of my throat. That was incredible. I really, really am impressed by what they did just there. That felt incredibly respectful to the Phil Collins original, while also very much putting some of their own slant on it. They obviously added some bits and pieces here and there, but it all felt like it was in service to a respectful cover. Didn't go too far afield, and I feel like, you know, as I said before with Nothing Else Matters, I think, when you're doing a song that is iconic, like this one, and that has a recent to contemporary following, like this one, you have to be careful how you play with it. And they did a fantastic job of this. Wow. There's so much going on, too. I'm just going to go straight back and start on this, because, my goodness, there's a lot happening in this video. I love the fact they started... I presume my eye isn't good enough to recognize dimensions, but I assume this is the same dimension that the Phil Collins video is in, which, of course, is that very close-up black and white video of his face. Again, very iconic imagery, actually, as well. And I love that we start in this open up into a widescreen format and then close back off in this format. That's a really nice touch. But yeah, let's kick this off. I mean, what? That I love. The post-processing they put on that voice. I'm not sure who's singing that line there. It sounds so authentically old, in the sense that, I mean, it's to my ear at least, and I am no specialist at identifying period sounds and things like that, but it sounds to me like a 1980s synth. And I love that they've done that, and it's so effective. Also, this set is really, really cool. Very washed out, which of course would be accurate for the time. We obviously get a little bit more color in shortly. This, I am assuming, I think I recognize roughly, I could not tell you the exact model, but I believe this is a Pontiac Firebird, which would be a very appropriate car. I love that as a choice. I also love the choice to leave the lights on. I think there's something really cool about the fact that we have these banks of lights on either side of the car, but we also have the car headlights on. Very effective. The orange against the blue is very cool. Kind of a fairly... it's an understandable color scheme for the time. Like, they've gone for a palette, at least to begin with, that is fairly recognizably of the era, I think. And I just love that we start with Jay getting out and just all cool. Look at my awesome car. I love this as an opening. It's great. Also love Jeff going down there, of course. I mean, what an intro. That is so badass. Just having that. Jay gets out the car, walks up, the others just come in. They snapping. It's just really, really cool. I think this sets the tone for what we're about to see so very well. The costuming is fantastic. Oh, right, I didn't do my usual thing. Let's have a quick glance and see who does what on this. I'm sure this is awesome enough. I'm not expecting many surprises. Lane did the arrangement. Oh, the arrangement and the video. Okay. That would make sense, because he does push Jeff. Maybe not as hard as we've heard him push him, but it's there. Audio by Ed, we know that. Set and direction by Lane and Tony. This makes sense. Production manager Kathy. Steadicam operator Matthew Hutchins. I think I've seen that name before. And assistant Andrew Cox. Great work by everybody there. Is this like Paddy Cake's garage? Or have they gone somewhere else for this? I'm not seeing a location. But I thoroughly enjoy what they've done with the visual of this. It's really, really effective. But yes, so no surprises there. A bunch of excellent people doing the work you would expect them to do. But I really, really love this as a setup. The clothing is fantastic. It's very, very era evocative. I particularly enjoy the ripped jean shirt that Jeff's wearing. There are so many movies where that's just sort of one of the things you see, and it's just your brain just goes, "Yep, 80s," and case in point, you see that, and it's very, everybody is very period, but that look specifically to me speaks very as a piece of period clothing. So I do enjoy that. Anyway, and also the haze. The haze is also very sort of typical. Like it's an effect that was used a lot, and they've used it very appropriately here, I think. This is also a cool shot. The first person we see other than Jay, we get this shot of Caesar almost completely invisible because of a combination of the haze and this very bright light that's kind of overpowering from behind. It's a really interesting shot. I like it, and you just get that motion, and you kind of get that cool reveal of a character effect from this. And this little bit of video tearing they've put, these white lines that are flickering up across the screen, again, very evocative. I do wonder if they might one day release a clean version of this as well that doesn't have that filter over the top. It doesn't bother me in the slightest, but I can see that being a visual trigger for some folks. But it's really, really effective for setting the idea that this is being watched on a VHS, or it's been filmed on, a camera that's got a slightly dodgy bit of hardware in it somewhere that's causing these cracks on the actual film itself. This is very cool. I like it. Also, I realized I didn't actually see when the screen opened up. Oh, let's not throw my stuff all over the place. There, as he gets out the car. That's a great choice. That's smart, because we have this opening. We have him coming into the scene. We go from having, sure, you can see he's in the car, but you go from having a physical vehicle in the scene to opening the scene up by bringing a character in who is walking into the scene, and therefore opening as he walks off towards the side of the screen. We have that moment where the video widens to widescreen. That makes a huge amount of sense to me as a point to do that, because it is already a natural transition. Even though we're not cutting, we are changing the nature of the scene by introducing a person into it.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
That's such a great tone Jay's taken for this. It is quite evocative of Collins while still being very definitely him. Definitely Jay, that is. Little bit of Vib just in the middle of one of those notes there, just a tiny, tiny bit. But he's otherwise sings it pretty clean, and it's recognizable. You hear, like, this is one of the, probably if you made a list of sort of the top 100 opening lines of a song from the last 50 years, this would probably be on the list. Like, that entry is so memorable. And it's, you know, there's a weight to bear in opening a cover of a song like this. You got to get it right, and Jay nails it. Really does.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord. And
Again, these crackles, this effect of it as if it's all on hard film stock. Very, very effective. It's I like that they increase it there. It's almost like it's also a representation of the audio waveform, as that comes in and increases. The distortion increases until we cut back to the primary frame. That's a really nice touch.
oh Lord. And I've been waiting for this moment for all my life.
And now we're clean. And that makes a lot of sense as well. With the filters gone, we've now got a full color effect. In fact, was that precisely there to do that? It was.
Oh Lord. And
We go from film grain, and then that snap, when you have the flash of white screen there for a split second, you snap from film grain and tear on the feed to going into a clean frame. I think we still have a couple of effects coming up, but we've now gone into the more contemporary color, which we're all used to seeing, and it's, you know, that snap to the future. Haha, see what I did there? Back to the future. I'll see myself out. But that was a really nice choice. I like that that's the way that they did this. And you can see now we're in a loading dock, now that I actually see this. This is a really effective place to film this, because loading docks are very bare, so it's a great place to be able to set something like this up and really put a tone out there. But yeah, awesome. As we go.
oh Lord. And I've been waiting for this moment for all my life.
I mean, this accompaniment is fantastic. It's such a bare accompaniment for the song anyway, and the way that they've chosen to represent it in here is perfect. And that, again, that sort of sound up there is so perfect for this. I mean, wow. They did a great job with the sound production here, both physically when they were actually singing with their voices, and on the bits of post that they've added to kind of make everything that little bit more digital synthy when it's necessary.
Waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord.
And again, a little bit of distortion there, but not as much. And we can see the cleanliness of the picture now very, very clearly with how defined everyone is. I love this use of color. I love that we have this very stark red, kind of verging into pink as it goes into sort of the white smoke coming from the ground. And then you have a different color coming from the top. Or at least it feels like it is, just the way that it's angled here, where you have that blue coming in. And then those piercing lights, now hidden by the smoke, and yet we can still see the lights coming from the car so clearly. One of the reasons that I like having those there, we've got this depth. You know, the sets of 9 lights each, the trees that are there, they're probably set about 10 feet back from the front of the car. And so you can cover them up with smoke, and the front of the car, those lights can still be quite powerful and clear. And I think that's a really smart decision. It gives you so much scope for depth of field and playing around with how overblown the back of the camera's sort of field is. It's a really nice choice.
Can you feel it coming in the air tonight?
Oh, listen to that again, that harmony. But I do love here, we switch from Jay to Ellie, and yet the tone, we're doing this again. I was talking about this, was it? Can't remember what the last thing I was talking about was where this was the case, but they're singing in a similar range. And so we switch from voice to voice. You can hear the vocal quality shift, but it's not like we're suddenly taking a gigantic left turn into a different register. We're staying in the same register, and I love that everybody gets to sing in this register. It keeps this solid sound through so that the melody line of this song is very consistent, which it is. It doesn't go all over the place, and yet they can allow themselves to go all over the place because they've given themselves, you know, they've earned that right almost by keeping this melody pretty solid the whole way through. And it lets us hear parts of people's voice ranges we don't always hear. We hear a lot of Ellie up top, Caesar too. We hear a lot of Jeff down low. Obviously, you know, especially covering his own solo stuff, we've heard a little bit more of him higher up too. But hearing the entire group like this, all singing in a similar vein, which is completely at odds with something like Tennessee Whiskey, where they sing the same thing, or at least 3 of them do. Who is it? It's Ellie, Jay, and Jeff. All sing the same thing, but in their own registers. And so you get a completely different tone, especially when Jeff comes in and sings that chorus right down in his boots. This is very different to that. We've got this very cohesive sound where 5 people can all sound in a similar range, and that choice right there to do that shows off a variety in VoicePlay's work that I am loving hearing right now.
And I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, can you feel it coming in the air tonight?
Oh. Those ooh harmonies, while that kind of synthy sound is still carrying on over the top, that combination is so good, and that's where we start to get the VoicePlay sound creeping in. And it's a gentle introduction. We've started off with exactly what you would expect if somebody told you were going to hear this song. And then we start to pull in elements that say, no, we're the ones covering it. Great choice. Oh, these chords here, and I think there's a double track Jeff there, right? Because he's keeping that drone on the... wherever it is. What note even is that? Let's find my piano quickly while I'm talking. But they keep that going, and we have these lovely, rich, shifting chords over the top of it, which are such a great sound. And again, we're pushing into the realms of, no, this is us now. Which I love. This is truly fantastic. What are we playing with? So that's a D, D1. Lovely sound for Jeff. It's a beautiful note for him to hit.
Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord.
And yet you're still getting... there's at least 2 people down there, so I'm not sure if that's... Who would that be? Would that be Lane, maybe? Or Ellie singing a little lower so that they're down with Jeff. Not drone Jeff, but moving bottom of the chord Jeff. It sounds to me like there's 2 people down there.
Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. Well,
Oh, that sounded... that kind of effect that's going on there.
oh Lord, oh Lord. Well, if you told me.
And then we cut back to that bare background again for Caesar's solo. Sorry, Caesar, for the freeze frame there. But what a great sound. And coming out of it's this play between extremely electronic and extremely physical vocals is a fantastic blend. And I really like how much they're playing around with the sound here. Again, voice, play. They are playing. And it's marvelous.
Well, if you told me you were drowning, I would not lend a hand. I've seen your face before, my friend, but I don't know if your face before, my friend.
Ooh, those chords are crunchy. I love Caesar's play there. If you, there's an aggression to the you, and you almost expect it to kind of fade out into, happy Caesar saying, if you were drowning, I'd come and help you. But he says no, and he just gets that. I love that look of just sort of superior, I'm done with this, that he gets. That's fantastic.
I would not lend a hand.
Looking down the nose almost.
I've seen your face before, my friend, but I don't know if you know who I am. Well,
And lovely this, because of course everybody behind him is singing the words into the harmony that they're putting there, but they've just set them back far enough that it's not intrusive. It's not one of those ones. Oh my goodness. So what I've discovered is there's some automated notifications that go off a few times a night from my company, where there's a bot that just does some bits and pieces while we're not working, and that's what I keep getting. So I will try. I keep forgetting to turn them off. I must make a note on my reaction crib sheet. Turn off notifications. What was I saying? I've thrown myself off now.
know who I am.
Oh, yes, that was it. So I love that they're saying the words of it behind, but they're set far back enough that they don't intrude anyway, and we're not getting that sense of, it's not a, who I am, where there's kind of equal weight put. It's who I am, whatever it is they're singing. But it's never pushed forwards. It's never level. It's always supporting what's going on in the solo.
Oh, if you know who I am. Well, I was there and I saw what you did. I saw it with
Oh, those three. I don't think Jeff was singing that, right?
there and I saw what you did.
Yeah, unless there's something going on that he's not replicating in the video, Jeff's not singing. Caesar, Jay, and Ellie here. This trio sounds fantastic. This is such a great entry. This is really where it's like that. Now the foot's come down. This is us. We're doing this. We know that. We've been given all of that information coming into this, but this is where it really reaches a peak, and now it's full voice play. This is not anything like the Phil Collins arrangement.
Well, I was there and I saw what you did. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. So you can wipe off that grin.
This I love. With my own 2 eyes is now, because we're now in voice play mode. Now some of these interjections are more front and center. And I know there were a couple of words in the gaps that were kind of pushing forwards, but like that with my own 2 eyes would not have been that loud had it been 2 lines ago. And that's really, really effective. I also love this, these drops down to the subdominant that Jeff does, where he ends on the 4. With my own 2 eyes, da, 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 da. It's a lovely note to land on, and he hits it so hard, and it kind of adds to the chords that are going on above. It's a run landing. I've heard him hit before, I know, and it's really cool.
My own 2 eyes. So you can wipe off that grin. I know where you've been. It's all been a pack of lies.
Oh, and then you get these sudden fly-ups from him. Boom, dum. What's he down to?
Know where you've been. It's all been
Dum, dum, boom. Jumps up an octave and a half like that. So beautifully achieved. And the dum. It's such a gentle onset. It's not like he's done a ba boom kind of thing. It's just this job. Very gentle switch into this very different sound. And it's lovely because it allows him to pull back up without making it obvious that he's doing so.
that grin. My own 2 eyes. So you can wipe off that grin. I know where you've been. It's all been a pack of lies.
Ooh, lovely little bit of riffing. I love Ellie's voice down there. He's got such a great tone. It's got a very full sound to it without kind of being too beefy. And it's a really, really nice quality to have. And I love hearing him sing down there. It's a great thing to add into this. And again, stands by my thing of having that equality of that line. It's giving us this opportunity to hear things like that. So yay!
It's all been a pack of lies.
This is great. Very, very, like, they've got this 80s thing of that very cut-off sound where it's like doom, and you don't get the at the end. It's like it's doom, and it stops dead. It's very difficult to replicate in the voice because the voice naturally has a tail off and a resonance within the body that kind of comes out. But it's all cut off, and it's a very kind of typical sound. I love that we're representing it being created by body movements. It's now we're getting because this has been very still up to this point, and now we're suddenly pushing these ballistic motions in, and it's giving us something more visual. We get that little pop with the camera shake, which of course is now a VoicePlay staple. I don't know how many videos that's been in, but it's a fantastic look. It's probably actually not that many, but it feels like it's been a lot.
Been a pack of lies.
And now also the cutting has got quicker. We'll notice on every hit there, boom, cha, boom, boom, cha. On each one of those, there's a camera cut. And we're looking at someone's feet, then we're looking at someone's face, then we're looking at someone's fingers, then we're looking at someone else's face. And it's become a lot more kind of pacey now, what we're seeing, which is really cool.
And I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
And now this is, as I said before, but even more so, we're full on VoicePlay. We've got these lovely little interjections, and then this very clear tonight, and we're really kind of settling into this. This is now completely out of the Phil Collins arrangement. We're in our own realm. We're going to come back to that in a bit. There are still homages to it being sort of peppered here and there, but I love this verse. It's really cool.
Coming in the air tonight. Well, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life.
That slide down, Jeff, is just gorgeous, isn't it? The dum. I don't know how he gets it as clean as long as that. Like the smoothness of that rundown is beautiful. And then entering the bass into that. Probably similar to a sound that would have been made. I feel like almost the voice gives you permission to go even further than you would do if you were just running down the frets of a bass guitar, or even a fretless bass.
Been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, I can.
I love this trio that we have going on here. Like, again, they sound so good together, and the way that they're changing up how they're using their voices a little bit between each of these, how they're focusing on the arrangement, how much one person stands out versus they're a trio that's all singing together. There's so much flexibility on display in this video. It's truly astonishing. And then you've got this wonderful percussion loop by Lane that's sounding fantastic, and Jeff's actually doing a lot more work than you might realize. Just listen to the Jeff line for a second. Oh, just from here.
Well, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, I can feel.
Yeah, he's moving a lot there. Also, that sound is really cool. It almost sounds like a piece of machinery gearing up, that kind of that comes between the choruses. I have no idea I'm assuming that's probably Lane. Just very, very cool, and I love that it's timed with the move from Jay as well.
Oh Lord, I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord,
Oh yeah, in the background there. Again, very, very processed, and kind of it's one of those things that you can throw it in, and I didn't hear it the first, like I only just caught it there. And I love that there's these little things in there, so much to discover in the depth of the arrangement of this. Sorry, that threw me off something else I was going to say, but.
Lord, I can feel it coming in the air.
Oh, that's really nice. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. The chord shift there. Like, they're doing really interesting things with the chords. They're veering away slightly from what the melody or what the sort of standard progression you would expect from the original song is doing. Of course, that's, what you would expect. But I really like the sort of chords that they're picking on here. There's something very kind of... even though we know that this is, sort of almost a breakup song, not quite, but something in that vein, there's something about this vocal arrangement that is very kind of enthralling. You want to listen to it. It's kind of almost comforting in a weird way, even as it's quite sad. And that's a really nice blend that they've struck there, and not an easy one to hit either.
Coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. Well, I remember.
That's so cool. I've liked that they almost fake you out there. They have this gradual slowdown. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. Like going down, peeling down. And roughly 2 minutes and 25 seconds is roughly where, in the Phil Collins song, we get the iconic drum riff. I think it's more like 2:40 or something like that. But if you're keeping tabs of that, if you have a sense of the time of the song, they fake you out into thinking they're about to go into it. You get this lovely rich D1 again from Jeff, which is just stunning, and everything slows down, peters right down, and you think you're going to do this, and it doesn't happen. They go back into another verse. I love it.
Well, I remember, don't worry.
That echo's really nice. That use of delay there, remember, ba, ba, ba. Really cool echo effect. Just lets it drift into the distance, and then we come back into Lane. And where we were expecting Lane to have his amazing vocal percussion moment, we instead get this beautiful singing line from him.
Well, I remember, don't worry. How could I ever forget? It's the first time.
That's so nice. I love that we have that gentle whatever it is they sing, but just a line underneath him. Just letting that line sing for a second.
I ever forget. It's the first time.
And then we have those little flash cuts that we're getting, and then boom, and just the camera shake again, and then we're back into Lane going back into rhythm again. The choices in this are so smart. The way they're changing up what you expect to happen at every moment. Very cool.
How could I ever forget? It's the first time. The last time that we ever met. But I know the reason.
And that build too. So I don't know how many.
The last time that we ever met.
Oh, it's only 4 times that the words ever met actually get sung, but because they have that crescendo and the build in the chords on met at the end, it actually sounded to my mind like it was more than that. They're really effective at creating these builds in the songs, and then moving into Ellie's next line. That sounded much more involved than it really was, which is great. That's a great thing to strive for.
But I know the reason why you keep your silence up. No, you don't fool me.
Still those little bits of distortion coming in when somebody's really singing out loud. Also seems to... I didn't catch it before, but I'm wondering if maybe it's when there's heightened emotion as well. No, you don't fool me. It's very much a kind of defensive line, so we get that little flicker across the screen. I'm not sure. I don't know if that's something I just didn't pick up on until now, or if I'm literally, pulling that out of a hat.
No, you don't fool me. Well, the hurt doesn't show, but the pain still grows. It's no stranger to you and me.
And that's so nice. We get the very, very I'm coming back to this, don't worry. We get the very last moment where finally all 5 of them have now sung in that same range. And that lovely little high note from Jeff there. And then we go into the big drum riff. I've been waiting for this moment all my life, says Lane. I imagine this is one of those things that it's just like, oh wow, I got to cover this. I don't know, maybe it's not. Sounds like it would be to me though. Oop,
I know the reason why you keep your silence up. No, no, you don't fool me. Well, the hurt doesn't show, but the pain still grows. It's no stranger to you and me. Ooh, I can feel.
And there, even that sound there, that gated drum, particularly on the that at the end there, so cut off. Very, very much the sound of the Phil Collins drums there. That is amazing.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
And we get these lovely little, you know, what am I trying to do? But these great little fills from Lane in there, where you get these kind of little bits where he's playing a little and adding in his own stuff. And then there's that lovely deep note we hit there from Jeff. I think it's another D1 that just, it's there and gone before you even know we've passed it. I love that we're starting to get them showing off a little bit as well. Like, Jay is so good at riffing, and yet that somehow feels like it could work in the era as well. It's not too contemporary, the riff that he's chosen to do there. That's a really smart choice. I really like that he added what he did there. Also, Lane's just like, yeah, I can do this more than once. Woohoo! I love that we get that deep moment from Caesar there, but really powerful. Like he's really letting go for a second in his lower range. Everyone's just getting to play so much with this, and then that lovely high kind of rock belt from Ellie that we know so well that he is so very good at. I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. And underneath we've kind of got this almost poppy, waiting for this moment, da, 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 kind of going on. I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Waiting for this my whole life. That's reminding me of something. Up all night to get lucky. It's kind of got that vibe to it. I like that we've got that little rhythm going there that's kind of going counter to the drum rhythm a little bit. It's just giving a little bit of additional interest there for us to kind of latch onto. I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Ah, and that re-entry. Right down at the bottom there. Oh, that's Lane having fun with Jeff. Like, giving him a part that's just going to be so cool to hear when you hear it as part of the arrangement. Ah, and now, again, really playing. Now we've kind of got this trap cymbal thing going on in the background. You've got Jeff doing the doom again. This clap with the dust as well. That's so effective, seeing the kind of the dust just sort of blow up in front of Caesar's face. They've even cut the reverb down. There's not as much reverb on the vocals here. It's a bit more kind of muffled, kind of small room effect rather than being a large space. You can hear it between the two. Quite open. Gives the whole vocal a different quality. And it's a subtle thing. It doesn't have to be a lot. But just culling some of that reverb from this brings it in to be a much tighter environment. It's a little bit more contemporary, which the sound is as well. Suits VoicePlay perfectly well. I love that they're doing this. Also, we've got the film grain back. When did that happen? Oh, right there. And now we're getting more tear, we're getting more distortion, we're kind of back to that original look. We can tell we're getting to the end of the video as things gradually bookend themselves back, and we're going to lose the edges of the screen in a moment as we go away from widescreen. Really, really nice choice to have that as a bookend, just coming in and out of this, the film grain. It's very, very effective. It sets the tone extremely well for the song and the era, and for the setting that we're seeing in this video.
How could I ever forget? I can feel it. Oh Lord.
Oh my good lord, that's high. Again, they're allowing themselves a lot of freedom here, and even though we have gone back to the film grain, we're still staying in the relatively contemporary sound. Of course, we went into it for that, essentially. But I love that we have these now just completely out of nowhere ad-libs, or, you know, not ad-libs, I guess, but riffs that have been put in there, coming in. Very effective.
I can feel it. Oh Lord, tonight.
I can feel it, oh Lord, in the air tonight. Like, we're now messing completely with the rhythm. Everything's just a little bit different. You could hear all this. I'm just pointing out things that sound cool to me.
I can feel it. Oh Lord, tonight.
Woohoo!
How could I ever forget? Coming in the air.
And there's another great example of Ellie and Jay working well. I can feel... And Ellie comes in on that same note. As it's fading away, his voice comes back to the forefront. Very effective. Woo! I love that Caesar chose to riff there, not up. That was great. I missed that first time. Oh, these little bits, and I like you get that visual of Caesar doing la da da da, and then you know that you hear the da 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 because you've been primed to listen to that. The amount of fun they're having with this ending is fantastic.
Well, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, I've been.
That choice there of having the lovely, just those gentle, sort of airy sounds over a Jeff solo towards the end of it, it grounds us again. And I'm not just saying that because Jeff's voice is low. There's something about the tenor that they created, no pun intended, that they create with that sound at the end there that just brings everything back down to earth. And it's very effective. I also noticed I made a mistake. We are flicking in and out of the film grain. It's not permanently there. I also like that the haze has gone away and we're just getting clarity now for this last little section. There's some such cool choices going on.
Oh Lord, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord.
And it's actually, we cut. You can see haze in the background when we're focusing on Jeff here. And then it cuts to that perfectly clean sound of the five of them.
Lord, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, oh Lord.
Ah! So good! So good! I love that. They did an amazing job of that song. Well played, all involved. And I think that the tonal choices that they made throughout all of that were so spot on. I'm just amazed at the fidelity they've managed to keep while also making something so uniquely their own. And I know they're expert arrangers, Jeff and Lane both. It doesn't surprise me that they have that skill. in the slightest, but it doesn't stop it being so astonishing when you actually hear it done. I know they're perfectly capable of doing it, but it is such a skill, and they display an amazing execution of it. And yeah, that was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed that. That's a song I have known a single version of for so long. I don't even know if I've ever heard a cover. Certainly none that has stuck with me. This is fantastic. Absolutely loved it. Well played, VoicePlay. I am really, really impressed. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed this. Please do like if you did. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell and all those things. You know the drill by now. If you would like to, head over to buymeacoffee.com/DavidKReact, where you can support the channel through a donation if you would care to do so. And thank you very much for watching this video with me. I hope you have enjoyed my take on it, maybe learned something new, or, you know, just seen a different perspective on something maybe that I've been able to bring to you. That's my goal. If people come away from this having learned something or gained a newfound sort of interest or enjoyment of something, then I feel like all my babbling is worthwhile. So hopefully you have done. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. I really appreciate you sticking with me throughout this. Have a wonderful afternoon, evening, dinner time, I don't know, breakfast time, cat feeding time, apparently. He's upstairs, he won't be joining, but I can hear him. And take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.